Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. I'm going to share with you something that I've been wanting to share for a while. So, I've got a little something here that I'm in love with, and I saw this on Instagram as an ad, and I thought, ooh, that's interesting. So I reached out to the manufacturer and I got myself a deck of Swatchos. So let me really show you. There we are, Swatchos. You might have seen these on Instagram yourself. What are Swatchos? Well, they're a deck of cards. I think there's 129, if I'm not mistaken, in here. If I take them out for you, you can see that they are all different colours. They're like little swatch cards, hence the name, Swatchos. So I'm going to turn the camera around, we'll do a little top down, have a little look at them properly, and then I potentially have a new art challenge for digital artists, taking advantage of something that us digital artists haven't been able to do with some traditional art challenges. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. Let's have a look at these Swatchos and then I'll tell you what my idea is. Let's turn it around. Okay, so here we are. This is the Swatchos. I'm just going to do a little bit of a review for these. Show you exactly what they are. So it's a really nice deck, and if I remember rightly, so there are 2 white cards, and then we've got lots of grey tones, and then we've got lots of yellows and browns going into greens, got some grey greens, some vibrant greens, some dark greens going into the turquoises and into the blues, lots of different blues, light blues, dark blues, into the purples and the violets, going through those, into the pinks, through the fuchsias, into the red, all the way through, ending with orange and some browns. That is a lot of colours. So, 129 cards. The good thing with Swatchos is that they have, down here, we have a CMY value and a RGB hex code as well as a unique identifying number for the card. If you were printing something, you would use the CMYK value. If you're doing something on a screen, so in Adobe or Procreate or Critter or whatever your preferred digital art application is, then you can use the RGB hex code and be sure that you get an exact colour every time. So, if we go through, for instance, let's pick out, what's this here? Okay, so we've got this really nice blue colour here. We can see we've got the CMYK code at the top, we've got the hex code at the bottom, and this is number 115. If we turn these cards over, so we have the card in the middle, then we've got a darker version and a lighter version. So that means whatever card you get different versions of the same colour. So this is really good for building schemes of colour for projects. So if you're a graphic designer, this would be really good because you can pick out colours, show a client what you mean. For digital artists, what I thought we would do is I'm going to give these a really good shuffle and make sure I've got all of them. And I remember a couple of years back, all the rage were the 3 colour challenges, and it would always be YouTube artists saying, I've got my Copic markers and I'm going to randomly choose 3 pens from here. And that's all very well, but for me, being a poor artist at home without Copics because I couldn't afford them, I kind of felt like I was left out because I couldn't use the same colours that those artists were using, and I just had to go and do a rough estimation. It also left out digital artists a little bit as well because you were guessing on what the colours might be. So my idea is to take these Swatcho cards, randomly choose 3 cards from it, and they will be my colour scheme for a 3 colour challenge that you guys can do at home, because I will show you both the CMYK and the RGB hex code. So if you want to do some digital art at home based on this colour scheme, you've got the colours right there. There's no guessing at all. It's going to be exactly the same. I'm actually going to be posting this on TikTok as well. So if you're not following me on TikTok, then the link is down below. It's just at Uncle Frogface on TikTok. And you'll see this on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm going to be sharing it across all 3 platforms because actually, I think that this could be a really good art challenge to get the community together and working on just creating bits of fun using these different colour schemes. So I've been shuffling these for a while. I'm going to randomly select 3 cards out of them. And then I might use some lighter and darker variations of those colours that I choose. It's a good thing with these is even when you've just got 3 cards, you do have some options as well because the main sides are quite vibrant colours. Might want a little bit of variation in there as well. Okay, so let's randomly cut. Okay, I have a green. Let's a little bit more of a shuffle. And randomly cut, we've got a blue. Nice. And then we'll do one more little shuffle. Randomly cut. We've got a yellow. Not a bad choice all in all. So now that I've got my cards, I can have a look at these. I can also turn them over and see whether I want to use some of the other values as well. I quite like how pale this yellow is. So I think I might choose that. I quite like how dark that green is, but does it go with those as a colour scheme? Maybe not. What about this blue? The dark green. So I am going to use Procreate. So I'm going to get set up, and I think I've got an idea. Let me just grab my sketchbook. I was doing some doodles the other day, and okay, so I've got a couple of doodles here. I've got this teddy bear who honestly looks like he's got murder in his eyes. I've got this monster down here that I kind of want to turn into a full character. So I'm going to do a little bit of a sketch on Procreate and get something mocked up. And then I'll come back to you afterwards and we'll look at colouring it in a little bit further. So I am very excited for the possibility for this challenge, not just for kind of creating weird random characters like this, but for taking it further and picking random cards and maybe doing a landscape for that, or a seascape, or designing a character or a creature, or doing a portrait, and just having fun experimenting with colour. I think digital artists have always been a little bit excluded from the colour challenges because of the supplies, and this just opens it up for everyone. So I'm very, very excited by it indeed. This character is just a random thing that came to my head, so I just wanted to sketch it out. It was taking space up in my sketchbook, and sometimes things get lodged in my brain until I actually get them down on paper. I'm just doing a very simple kind of children's illustrative book style for this character. So we've got our character all laid out now and inked, and it's a very simple one, nothing too detailed here. You might see that I've already got my swatches laid out from here. So you might be asking, how did I get the colours from here onto here? Well, we go up to the colour swatcher here, and you've got all these different ways of selecting the colour. We go to value, we have hexadecimal here. You can just click on here, type in the code that is here. So this one is 009FE4. And you see we've got the exact colour that we have there. Really, really simple way of doing it as well. You could also save these colours in a palette as well, but that's a whole nother video. So what I've done is I've created a few different layers here, and I'm actually just going to kind of drag and drop colours to create kind of a palette. So let's get a nice big round brush. I think I'm going to start with this blue colour just to see what the general colours look like. I'm not going for neatness, I can do that afterwards. Okay, and then maybe the legs as well. And I'm thinking maybe, oh, let's do that. Gonna pick her here. Yellow for the horns maybe. Maybe the tummy. Maybe green for the nose, and maybe for the toenails as well. So that's one idea. Let's try something else. Ooh, it's difficult. I think I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to do a bit more of a refined colouring in now. I'm also going to do some overlay layers, just some multiply, just to get some shadows in there as well. But yeah, multiply is just going to be with a light grey, so just a small bit of cell shading. And whilst I do that, I'm also going to tell you a little bit about Swatchos, what they're about, where you can get them as well. But let's get stuck into a time lapse. So I decided to reach out to the creator of Swatchos and ask a few questions. So first I asked a little bit about himself. So Andy Brown is the creator. He's a graphic designer. He's been a designer for about 15 years. Lives in north coast of Northern Ireland, which he says is a little bit wet sometimes. He was inspired to make them by getting frustrated at trying to combine colours easily and on screen using sliders to pick the colours. Or he was using swatches to try and fold them up in books and put two colours next to each other. So this was a much easier way for him to be able to do that. I asked him how he envisioned them being used, and he said that he envisions them being used to create groups of colours and for colour schemes and palettes. So he personally uses them for branding projects, being a graphic designer, and he uses them to select a single colour when he's trying to choose between different blues, for example, if he were working on a brochure. I did ask him whether he had any tips and tricks as well. So as I showed you, on the reverse of each card there's a light side and a dark side. What that means is you can fan the cards out one way and get a whole spectrum of light colours, fan them out the other way, get a whole spectrum of dark colours, or fan them out on the normal side and get kind of mid-tones, the base side. If you would like to get some of these, there is a link down below, but I will tell you a little bit about that in a moment. We're just about finished with this guy. And just like that, we've gone from an idea, a few colours, to a finished thing. I will leave a proper picture of this at the end, but this was really fun to do, really unexpected colours as well. So just using these three cards, we've come up with this actually really nice colour scheme for what I think this character would do really well in a children's storybook, I think. So I'm dubbing this challenge the Swatchos 3-colour challenge. If you want to pick up your own set of Swatchos, then there is a link down below. I do get a little bit of a kickback, but I'm also giving you 5% off if you want to buy a deck. So there is a code down below as well. Make sure to check them out. This was loads and loads of fun. I'm going to carry on doing this. I think this is going to be a tool I use for a very long time. I just can't believe how many colours there are in this. I mean, just look at that. That is amazing. I honestly love it. This is probably one of the best art tools I bought in a very, very long time. So I really hope you check them out and just have fun with these. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. And as always, until next time, goodbye.